Hey everybody, I am Jake, aka Bomber, and I welcome you into Jobber Radio's monthly Deathmatch Rundown. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you several different things that took place in August of 2023 inside the deathmatch world of professional wrestling. I'm talking anything from those 5 must-see death matches that you better not skip over to special happenings that took place in the scene. Not 1, not 2, but I will be recapping 3 different tournaments held this month, so strap in. And we just can't forget about those deathmatch championships. I have you covered in recapping each and every title match from the month. So it's that time, and let's get this bad boy started with the Jesus Christ Spot of the Month. Back-to-back months, we find ourselves in GCW, and back-to-back months, we find ourselves outside of the United States. Oh, and back-to-back months, the Jesus Christ spot goes to Cyclope. Airing on August 14th in Tijuana, Mexico, GCW held their Lucha de Explosivos. And surprisingly, in an exploding death match, the spot had nothing to do with explosives. Cyclope and Joe Leader fought their way up to the second-story balcony with barbed wire boards and tables stacked down below. Eventually, Cyclope was chucked off the balcony and crashed onto the boards, but just bounced off and took a nasty fall to the floor. Watching back on slow-mo, you can see just how scary this actually was. And here's another angle from social media. Luckily though for Cyclope, his team would go on to win the match, so I guess there's that. And that, folks, is your Jesus Christ Spot of the Month. I hope you're ready, because this is going to be the longest episode so far, at least in 2023, for the monthly Deathmatch Rundown, because we have 3 deathmatch tournaments to break down right here, right now. 2 of them being just traditional deathmatch tournaments, the other one being the Bill Alfonso hardcore tournament. And I know what you're saying. Wait a minute, that's a hardcore tournament. It's not a deathmatch tournament. AIW had that exact plan. They did not want it to really be a deathmatch tournament, but as the tournament progresses, you'll see it starts to get a little out of hand. So I thought I would cover it here on the rundown, and I think it was a pretty good tournament overall. So we need to talk about it. You need to see what went down. So anyway, so much to talk about. 3 tournaments. Let's get into it. Go. Out to maybe Michigan we go for RPW's first annual King of the Kill Deathmatch tournament. It was held on August 12th. The tournament kicked off with Mexico's own Crazy King taking on the murder surgeon Dr. Redacted. Just in this first round match, we saw both guys pull out all the stops. Gusset Plate started things off, followed by trading light tube shots, and then Redacted got a little target practice in. And things got a little wild when Redacted literally brought out a bomb to attack his opponent. Keeping his foot on that gas, Doc put his trademark trash can over his head and leapt out of the ring, drilling King. King got in some nice offense too with this nice DVD from the top rope, completely flattening this chair. The match then came to an end after 2 Saito suplexes, followed by 3 German suplexes, and then Redacted finished King off with a curb stomp onto some light tubes. Dr. Redacted moves on to round number 2. As for match number 2, we saw Judge Joe Dredd make his RPW debut against one of the hottest deathmatch wrestlers in all of the indies right now. We're talking about Hoodfoot. Trading shoulder blocks started us off as both big men tried to get the other off of their feet, but to no avail, at least to begin with, because Hoodfoot would eventually make Dredd taste some glass. Pulling out a couple dirty tricks, the judge later tried to choke Hoodfoot out with his counselor's tie, and then he slung him through a table with it. After setting up some chairs with light tubes laying across him, Dredd made a critical mistake by jaw-jacking with the fans, which allowed Hoodfoot to counter him with a Saito suplex onto the mat, and then one more through chairs to pick up the win, advancing to the next round. Next up, the Carnivore Remington Roar took on Mr. Lego's Tommy Vendetta. Roar had a clear size and strength advantage, but Tommy is as scrappy as they come and took control of the match early using his Nerf thumbtack gun. That control though went right out the window the second Roar introduced cinder blocks into the match. He took Tommy for a ride with a running power slam through a light tube Eiffel Tower and then down onto his own Legos. Things ramped up towards the end of this match when Tommy nailed Roar with a huge light tube bundle, but was immediately put through a door where he kicked out at 1. He scooped Roar up and drove him through a second table with his backpack cannonball, and then finished his opponent off with one final pile driver. Tommy Vendetta gets the win, moving on. In the last match of the first round, Joel Bateman would battle the XPW King of the Deathmatch's champ, Shlak. As you could predict, this match saw several wild-looking light tube shots. I'm gonna say this, not many people can go toe-to-toe with Shlak, but Bateman proved he is not your average man. I mean, look at this. Joel got folded up with this powerbomb onto his neck, onto a razor board, but somehow kicked out. Strangely enough, Shlak would go to the top rope for a third time in this match, but this time he lit his elbow pad on fire and then missed an elbow drop, allowing Joel to wrap a plastic bag over his head. Shlak eventually countered and started smothering Joel with that same plastic bag, and just when it looked like Joel couldn't take it anymore, Judge Joe Dredd attacked Shlak from behind with the XPW King of the Deathmatch's title. Those two fought to the back, and Joel Bateman was awarded the win via forfeit, much to the fans' displeasure. Now it's time for round number 2, where Hoodfoot came to the ring first to take on Dr. Redacted, who would jumpstart this match by spitting poison into his face. To be honest though, that seemed to only piss Hoodfoot off, who would put Redacted's head through a door with brute force. Doc did his best to fight back into this match with a nice shotgun kick here, but he soon ate a Saito suplex through a door. Pretty much out on his feet, Dr. Redacted felt desperate enough to low blow Hoodfoot. Not just once, but twice, followed by a roaring elbow, and then in a shocker, Dr. Redacted pinned Hoodfoot to advance to the final round. To see who would join him, Tommy Vendetta was up next to face the man from down under, Joel Bateman. This match was on the short side, but filled with action as Bateman looked to try and put an end to Vendetta early. Now, I did not expect to see any dry ice used in this tournament, but Joel Bateman set up 2 piles on top of some TVs. And if that wasn't enough, of course he had to add some light tubes and a pane of glass onto one of those piles. And it all worked out in horrible fashion for him because Tommy drove his head into the first pile of dry ice, and then pile drove him through the second pile. Yeah, no chance of kicking out there. Tommy Vendetta scored the 3 count, meaning he will be moving on to the finals to face Dr. Redacted. And here we are at those finals, where this match would be a barbed wire coffin match, meaning the only way to win is to put your opponent into the coffin and shut both of the lids. Both men entered this match after taking an absolute beating in the first 2 rounds, and I think it's just a miracle that they could even stand up straight. Legos, light tubes, and fists were all used here to start things off. Redacted hit a DVD through glass in one corner, and not looking to be outdone, Vendetta responded with his backpack cannonball into the other corner. Redacted would then foil Tommy's plan by drilling him in the face with some light tubes and then bringing him down head first through a pane of glass. Now, of course, these guys spilled out into the crowd, and as they worked their way over to this U-Haul, you just knew somebody was in for a bad time. Dr. Redacted back body dropped Vendetta onto the barbed wire trampoline and then climbed on top of the U-Haul truck with his trash can in tow. Now, looking more like the suicide surgeon, Redacted blindly jumped off of the truck looking to land on Vendetta, but all he found was barbed wire. As the match found its way back into the ring, Redacted just wasn't the same as Vendetta pelted him with light tubes after light tubes. Tommy Vendetta hit a pile driver on the ground and then chokeslammed Doc into the coffin to shut the doors and win the first ever King of the Kill Deathmatch tournament. From start to finish, I can't think of many tournaments who had the debut quite like the King of the Kill in 2023. ICW held their 11th Insane 8 Deathmatch tournament on August 20th, and that is where Mickey Knuckles would take on Dr. Redacted in the first match of the first round. This match got started off with trash can shots, Death Valley drivers, and interesting pin attempts. And at least Mickey got what she was asking for.
Come on, play with me.
The Doctor took a barbed wire bat to the sack and then was put through a door with Mickey's trademark pump handle slam. It may have just been her ass in his face, but he was able to kick out at 1. They fought their way over to the merch tables, where Redacted took just a second to give his lady a little smooch, but then again so did Mickey. Back in the ring, things got serious after Redacted landed his frog splash, as well as this cannonball in the corner through a pane of glass. It looked to be over after hitting a curb stomp in the middle of the ring, but Mickey somehow shot her shoulder up at 1. He added some light tubes, but that only put her down for a count of 2. She grabbed onto her battle axe, looking to decapitate the Doc, but he ducked under the swing, rolling her up for the count of 3. So with Dr. Redacted advancing past Mickey Knuckles, we're on to match number 2, where Yanni GQ Llanos took on ICW's world champion and last year's winner of the Insane 8, Eric Dillinger. Wow, what a start to this match. Dillinger caught Yanni by surprise with a light tube bundle, drove him into one light tube Eiffel Tower, and then powerbombed him through the other. Yanni wouldn't be steamrolled in this match though, because he caught Dillinger with a nice looking super kick, as well as this nice looking haluva kick in the corner. But that would not save him from this coast to coast from Dillinger, just shattering glass everywhere. Yanni would then try to hit this cutter onto some tubes, but had that reversed on him. And speaking of reversals, Dillinger went for a tilt-a-whirl slam, but Yanni brought him down head first with a DDT. The end came though when Eric Dillinger pulled Yanni off the top rope with a package pile driver through a bundle of tubes. Really great first match here. Eric Dillinger remains undefeated in Insane 8 competition. The machete-wielding carnivore Remington Roar was out next to take on everybody's favorite honey badger, Neil Diamond Cutter. I don't think I've ever seen a pizza cutter board before, but after this match, I don't think Neil wants to see one ever again. Not really sure what Neil was thinking here, trying to out-muscle Roar, but needless to say, it did not work. He did, however, show that strength is not everything, but skewers kinda are. The staple gun and dollar bills were brought out, and as soon as Neil had a dollar stapled to his tongue, I had the same reaction as this lady right here. This stalling vertical suplex was a thing of beauty as glass and bodies went flying. And this was about time in the match where Roar just started chucking his opponent all over the ring. Never fear though, the Honey Badger always has a few tricks up his sleeve and a dive to make things right. The 2021 Insane 8 winner, Neil Diamond Cutter, gets the win, moving on to the next round after yet another damn good match. In the final match in the first round, Brew Baker would have his hands full with a 2-time Insane 8 winner and the man who has more wins than anybody else in Insane 8 competition. That man is Orin Veidt.
Anybody can do the shit!
Brew Baker looked to be out to avoid the deathmatch aspect of this tournament, and judging by these skewers, this TV, this light tube bundle, these pizza pans, this fork baseball bat, and even this cookie sheet, I think it's safe to say that he failed. He did get in one nice looking enziguri, but as you would imagine, in the end, Orin Veidt took that victory. In all honesty though, this was a very entertaining match, and I think it did add a lot to the tournament. On to the second round we go, where Dr. Redacted would meet Neil Diamond Cutter in the semifinals. At the very sound of the bell, Neil missed a spear going headfirst into a pane of glass. And then right after that, Redacted missed a cannonball, sending himself through another pane of glass. I should probably point out that this was a best of 5 panes of glass match, but neither one of those counted because they didn't put their opponent through the glass. But this right here certainly counted, as Neil drove Redacted through the pane of glass in the corner. Just when the doc thought he countered Neil, he was then powerbombed through a second pane of glass, making the score 2-0 in Neil's favor. It didn't take too long though for Redacted to get on the board with this DVD, leaving him down by only 1. Then literally 10 seconds later, he tied it up with a second Death Valley driver. With only 1 pane of glass left to go, they each fought up to the middle rope, jockeying for position, but it would be Redacted who put Neil Diamond Cutter through the glass with a cutter of his own. Dr. Redacted is headed to the finals. To see who he would face, Orin Veidt came out next to take on Eric Dillinger, but sadly it was announced that Eric Dillinger suffered an injury and was rushed to the hospital. So that means Tommy Trainwreck would come out to replace him in the second round contest. A gusset plate got plenty of blood flowing as Orin began to just dominate Eric's replacement. Headshot after headshot, you could see Tommy's soul just leaving his body. There was a piss jug might chant as Veidt scooped Trainwreck up onto his shoulders and gave him a DVD through a door like it was nothing. Not looking to let up, Orin hit a double stomp through glass directly onto Tommy, but he just shot up at the count of 1. It was now time for Tommy to finally get some offense in, but Orin made sure that that was not about to happen and slung Tommy into a light tube door. Finally, Tommy Trainwreck got a move in, and it looked like for 1 second he was about to pull off this upset comeback. Well, that was until Orin once again showed off his underrated strength, getting Tommy up onto his shoulders and walking over to the other side of the ring, where he hit an assault driver to put him away. The Wizard King, Orin Veidt, finds his way to the finals after 2 pretty dominating wins to take on the murder surgeon, Dr. Redacted. And just look at this, showing off that strength yet again, Veidt just casually walks around holding Redacted up before bringing him down in the middle of the ring. As they fought outside of the ring though, they found their way over over to a barbed wire trampoline with a scaffold just conveniently parked next to it. Redacted placed Orin onto the trampoline and then climbed up to the top of the scaffold, calling for his trademark trash can. He then blindly leapt off, but Orin was nowhere to be seen, leaving Redacted smashed through the door and panes of glass. Oh, and yes, of course, let's not forget about the barbed wire. One day I think he's going to learn that trash can is just never a good idea. Maybe. Orin carried Redacted's lifeless body back to the ring, and with things looking pretty bad, Redacted ate another pane of glass. Facing an assault driver and most likely the end of this tournament for him, he countered it by starting a string of pin attempts. With no luck there, Redacted put Orin through a door with a Saito suplex and then quickly hit his frog splash. Redacted locked in a crossface, but knowing that that would not be enough, he smashed Vite's head into a tube and then grabbed a barbed wire cricket bat. Or at least I think that was a cricket bat, but refusing to tap out, Orin Vite just passed out, meaning that Dr. Redacted is your 2023 Insane 8 winner. This marks his second Deathmatch tournament win of the year and quite the debut in ICW. He left Wisconsin with the Insane 8 title by his side. Held on July 29th, but airing on August 20th, Absolute Intense Wrestling held their second Bill Alfonso Hardcore Tournament. Getting things started in round number 1, we had a tag team specialist. We're talking Chuck Stone take on a man who has held pretty much every title in AIW, the Intense Icon, Joshua Bishop. Bishop introduced Stone to some popper bats to get things going. We had some chairs completely ruined with a nice spine buster here, a wild shot to Chuck's head, and then this fisherman suplex as well. A door was also taken out after this cannonball senton from Stone. We were in for a big time upset here right out of the gate when Chuck Stone low-blowed Bishop and wildly tried hitting his Burger Time slam into some chairs. But hey, it was enough to pick up the win apparently, meaning Chuck Stone advances over Bishop. The next match would pit the final girl, Ziggy Haim, against Dominic Garrini. Ziggy started things off with a bang, drilling Dominic with a water jug several times, followed by a bottle cap bat, and then shattered a large container over his head. She looked to be trying to end things early, but eventually her steam would run out as she just got tossed through a door bridge. After taking several brutal sounding chops and a stiff kick to the face, Ziggy slung Dominic out of the ring with a satellite head scissors through a door. After a leg drop from the middle rope, Ziggy introduced tons of thumbtacks to the match by bulldogging Dominic face first into him. Things came to an end after Ziggy was folded in half onto these thumbtacks and Dom shoved him into her mouth before delivering a devastating knee, followed by one final brainbuster. 1, 2, 3. Dominic Garrini advances. Next up, we had John Wayne Murdoch make his AIW debut, coming out first to take on a returning Tim Donst. These guys brawled out among the fans for the majority of this match, and that's where Murdoch decided to have himself a little Timmy taste test. Once back in the ring, Donst just about impaled Murdoch onto forks with a back body drop here. Then we had a double clothesline, sending both men down into the tacks, where they would pull out a pair of thumbtack bats and began just trading headshots. Murdoch dished out a couple of hard slaps, firing Donst up, but Murdoch was able to evade his cutter here. He then gave him a brainbuster down onto the chair, bringing this bloody battle to an end. That means John Wayne Murdoch will move on to the final round. And now for the last match in the first round, we had last year's winner of the Bill Alfonso Hardcore Tournament. We're talking Kaplan. He would go one-on-one with Mance Warner. I did not anticipate a 20-minute plus match in the opening round, but these guys were out here looking to kill each other, or at least rip one of their tongues out. This had to be one of the hardest hitting matches in round number 1, between the punches, chair shots, lariats, headbutts, table hits, chair shots, kicks, ring post attacks, chair shots. They were out here for broken bones, or at the very least concussions. And Skewers made a little cameo here as well. Kaplan hit a nice suplex through a door onto Mance, but then bit it hard when he missed this senton going through a door, falling to the outside. That wouldn't deter Kaplan from going to the top one more time to go for a split-legged moonsault onto a chair and Mance Warner. He hit just enough to score the 3 count, meaning that Kaplan finds himself in the finals 2 years in a row. And now on to those finals where we have a 4-way elimination match, which would be reffed by Bill Alfonso himself. Your finalists are Chuck Stone, Dominic Garrini, John Wayne Murdoch, and last but not least, Kaplan. Chaos erupted early as Kaplan dove out of the ring into all of his opponents. With everything going on in this match, even the production team had a hard time following the action. Guarini delivered a couple stiff kicks to the chest of Murdoch, then brought him down hard with a Saito suplex to score an upset elimination. With Murdoch gone, there was a three-way door standoff, with each guy getting their heads just crushed in. They traded in those doors, though, for exploding totes. But I think this chair shot right here may have finally turned Kaplan's lights out. Chuck Stone then hit his Burger Time Slam onto a barbed wire chair to eliminate Dom from the finals. Down to just Kaplan and Chuck Stone, one of these men will leave with the Bill Alfonso Hardcore Tournament Championship. After several more hard-hitting shots, Stone was able to catch Kaplan going up to the top rope and carried him all the way across the ring, powerbombing him through a door. That would be it. Alfonso would count to 3, and after 2 major upsets, Chuck Stone is your second Bill Alfonso tournament winner. He celebrated the only way he knew how, by busting up Fonzie. We're going to talk about some deathmatch championships now, and for the first time here on the rundown, 10 different title matches took place. All of them are going to be covered, including a brand new title that we haven't talked about here yet. So, and of course, I'm going to try to cover it best I can. You know, it's a little bit harder on some of these other shows. You can't see all of their events, so I'll do what I can. But here you go, 10 title matches from the month of August. Enjoy. We're going to get things started with the ICW American Deathmatch World Championship match for the month. ICW No Holds Barred and the champ Hoodfoot came to Detroit on August 5th to put the belt up against one of his best friends, Randy West. Randy tried to lock in her guillotine choke early, but Hoodfoot just tossed her off into a pane of glass in the corner like a gnat. There were several light tube shots on the outside of the ring, but none of them looked like they knocked out their opponent, like when Randy drove her knee directly into Hoodfoot's head right here. Hoodfoot would land a Saito suplex in the middle of the ring, only for Randy to return the favor into the corner through a barbed wire pane of glass. She tried to lock the guillotine in one more time, but took a brain buster instead. She then yelled at Hoodfoot, saying that he wasn't shit, but I don't think he happened to agree with her here. Getting desperate, she went for yet another guillotine, but this time it would cost her the match. Hoodfoot sent her crashing down headfirst through a large pane of glass to get that win. After the match, Randy's husband, Schwartzy, joined them in the ring for a big group hug just to show some love. Back-to-back months, we are going to have a new deathmatch title debuting here on the rundown, because I'm going to do my best to cover the ex-ICW Extreme Intense Championship. Champion Tommy Vendetta put his title on the line while ICW No Holds Barred were in Detroit. His opponent would be Crazy King, and I believe he lives up to that name because he started this match off by breaking a bundle of light tubes over his own head. This match was it was very good. We saw DVDs, a sky-high pop-up powerbomb, a Darren McCarty run-in with a hockey stick, a backpack cannonball through a door with Legos, a pile driver from the chains, and even an armbar. And what better way to escape an armbar than to start shooting staples into your opponent's skin? This was a very solid performance from Crazy King, but he broke the cardinal rule and he touched Tommy's Legos. Tommy planted King down with a big body slam and then followed it up with the trifecta of pile drivers all into his Legos to pick up the win. Tommy Vendetta holds on to his ex-ICW Extreme Intense Championship and now is well over a year into his current run. August 12th at RPW's King of the Kill event, Schwartzy would put his RPW Kamikaze Championship on the line against the returning Herzog. Herzog's unique style seemed to give him an early advantage when he slammed Schwartzy through a barbed wire door. The match soon spilled out of the ring where they would fight amongst the fans. And after nearly trashing the whole ringside area, they found their way back into the ring where Herzog took a nasty monkey flip through a pane of glass. He would go on to answer that with a choke slam through a pane of glass. But Schwartzy was not about to give up that easy. With a bonfire raging in the background, the champ would hit a light tube assisted Sister Abigail, following that up with clubbing blows to the back of the head, forcing the ref to jump in and call for the match via stoppage. Schwartzy left maybe Michigan still your RPW Kamikaze champion. The RPW Rust Belt champion Randy West put her title on the line at Flophouse Wrestling's No Fucks Given show on August August 4th. The man to come out challenging her for that title would be a very cocky Kevin JEEZUS. Almost immediately though, Randy's buddy Pete came into play as she grinded it into JEEZUS' forehead. You gotta respect kendo sticks and the traditional barbed wire bats, which were both broke out in this match. JEEZUS found himself distracted by the fans and really just finding any way for them to hate him. After taunting the fans with the barbed wire door in the corner, he finally ate a spear through it. Showing off would cost him several times in this match, but none more than this high risk where he crashed directly onto the ring apron, falling out of the ring. And then after one too many splashes in the corner, he missed big time, almost knocking himself out. The champ capitalized with a butterfly suplex and then clinched in her guillotine choke, forcing Kevin JEEZUS to tap out. Brandy West wasn't done because she came to the ring to start off the King of the Kill event on August 12th, not scheduled to compete by the way, but would put her title on the line anyways. The fans were treated with an impromptu RPW Rust Belt triple threat title match with Chuck Stein and Mongo. Listen, Mongo got pulverized in this match. He took on some 2v1 barbed wire door shots, light tubes driven into his back. He was dropped right onto his neck here by the champ, plus he took on some dual light tube shots. I do want to point out a very scary moment at the end of this match where Randy was trying to pin Chuck, but Mongo went to break it out with a light tube shot. As he hits Randy, glass goes flying right into the face of Chuck. Look at this in slow-mo. Luckily, this did not result in any type of injury here. As Mongo was trying to pin Chuck, Randy caught him from behind with a splash to the back and then rolled him over to pick up the pin. That makes for 2 successful title defenses in the month of August for Randy, and wow, what an insane reign she is having right now with over 500 days as champ. It's going to continue into September. To Horror Slam we go now for DBA's second deathmatch title defense. It took place on August 11th at their Bloody Nights event. The challenger would be none other than Tommy Trainwreck. Trainwreck tried to introduce a fork bat at the start of this match, but DBA had other plans, sending the forks flying all over the ring. After the fork bat didn't quite work out for Tommy, he tried again, this time with a gusset plate bat, but once again, DBA took it right from him and made him pay. Looking like T-ball practice here, DBA hit a home run with a ball that was stuck into Tommy's head. Let's call a spade here. It did not appear to be Tommy's night because he would also go on to miss this light tube shot set up in the corner. Just trying to get some type of offense in, DBA foiled him yet again and again. Trainwreck did get a few shots in, but in reality, this was all the champion here. I mean, he did spit on DBA, which proved to be a bad idea in itself. It would be a flaming elbow later, and that would be it for Trainwreck. DBA retains and leaves still your Horror Slam Deathmatch champion. The new H2O Danny Havoc Hardcore World Champion Bam Sullivan was set to defend his title for the first time against Mouse at H2O's No Rain event. There were a ton of counters early as Mouse tried to get into the head of the champion. Bam was the first to introduce light tubes into the match with a home run shot to the back. Going for a suicide dive with another tube to the outside cost him big though when Mouse caught him with a chair. Mouse would get some solid offense in though on Bam, with this Frankensteiner here sending the champ crashing through a door. He destroyed a keyboard over Sullivan's back before planting him with a front face DDT down onto it. The champ brought the heat himself though with this X suplex through a chair. He also drove Mouse through a door with this nice spear. And we cannot forget this beautiful looking code breaker with a light tube. The end was just around the corner though because Mouse took just a little too long setting up some light tubes onto a chair, allowing Bam to strike. He scooped Mouse up and slammed him through the tubes with a Death Valley bomb, and all that was left to do was roll Mouse over, pinning him to pick up the victory. So there is your headline, folks. Bam Sullivan retains the Danny Havoc Hardcore title at H2O No Rain. Let's go down to Houston now for Wrestle Rave's second anniversary spectacular, where Dmitry Alexandrov would receive his final shot at Dr. Redacted's Deathmatch Championship in the main event. Literally kicking things off with light tubes, it was not long before Dmitry drove a gusset plate into the champ's head, only to knock it off with a cookie sheet. Alexandrov took his eyes off the Doctor for just 1 second and ate a bunch of tubes because of it. Per usual, Redacted proved that one of the most deadly weapons in his matches is his own body. As he slammed himself into his challenger several times, no fans or chairs were safe as the two brawled out into the ringside area. Like the true professional he is, Redacted pulled out his stethoscope, putting it into the ears of Dimitri and screamed into it, trying to make the man's eardrums explode. Now that, my friends, is hardcore. And just about as hardcore as Redacted almost impaling himself onto this chair. I'm not sure if I've ever seen a scissor bat before, but I'm going to have to agree with commentary on this one.
Oh, hell no.
Then, looking to murder his challenger, Redacted brought him down face first into chairs and tubes. With that somehow not being enough, he then hit a frog splash onto tubes, and guess what? That also was not enough. Redacted tried his luck one too many times and blinded himself with the trash can, costing himself big. With desperation setting in, Dimitri connected with his trademark slam off the turnbuckles and then smashed several light tubes over the exposed neck of the champ. It would take one final slam onto the trash can to finally keep the doctor down for the 3 count. Dmitry Alexandrov, the first ever WrestleRave Deathmatch champion, is now the first ever 2-time Deathmatch champion. Night 1 of GCW's homecoming weekend saw the ultra-violent champion Rina Yamashita defend her title against fellow pro wrestling freedom star Takashi Sasaki. I thought Sasaki was about to pull out a freaking sword in the middle of this death match, but it was something even cooler, a light tube sword, which he used to bash Rina over the head with. There were several barbed wire door spots in this match. The first one was when Rina drove her challenger through the door in the corner. She was later body slammed and then suplexed onto another one. She ate one more suplex onto the barbed wire, this time from the top rope. And after all that, all it did was just fire the champ up. And speaking of getting fired up, it wouldn't be a Rina match without her smashing some light tubes over her own head. Sasaki landed a lot of hard-hitting blows here with these light tube kicks in the corner, this headshot right here, a knee into the face, and a decapitating light tube bundle. With all that said, Rina just refused to stay down. She drove him down onto a barbed wire chair, she twisted the man's junk, and capped it all off with her trademark splash mountain bomb onto light tubes and barbed wire to get that win. Rina goes on to retain on night number 1. In the main event, the very next night on August 20th, Rina put her ultra-violent title on the line yet again, but this time, her Freedom's opponent would be Violento Jack. Rina marched down to the ring with light tubes and started the match off right away. This match would top out at 20 minutes, seeing Jack show his brute strength to overpower the champion. As many light tube shots as he took, he kept pushing and moving forward like the Terminator, oftentimes getting the better of Rina. The rolling fireman's carry on the outside looks like it could have done Rina in, but it took Jack just a little too long to recover himself. As much as Jack pleaded with Rina just to stay down, the underdog champ continued to fight back. After Rina's big splash from the top, Jack rolled her right through and brought her down with a brainbuster. Just to show him up though, Jack would hit a swanton off the top where she pulled him right up and then slammed him down with a German suplex. 15 minutes deep into this match and they start trading light tube headshots. Absolutely crazy. Just when it looked like Rina got the better of the exchange, Jack just launched a full stack into her face. To counter Jack on the top rope, Rina surprised him with either a kiss or bited him on the nose. I'm not sure which one, but either way, it was effective. She smashed some light tubes over his backside and then brought him down through a pane of glass and light tubes with her splash mountain bomb. Somehow though, Jack countered her pin with his own submission. Just when it was looking like we were about to get a new champion, Rina rolls him over, pinning his shoulders to the mat, and gets that win. Rina Yamashita leaves homecoming weekend still the GCW ultra-violent champion. She actually won this title back at homecoming weekend last year, so that marks 1 full year as the champ. I can tell right now, these title matches are going to end up being the death of me, okay? So I looked at the thing and I saw 10 title matches. Oh my God. So yes, we still have the 5 must-see matches of the month of August. We're going to get to them right now. No more talking. This is getting long. Let's do it. The first match you need to see from August is that ultra-violent title match at GCW's homecoming weekend between Rina Yamashita and Violento Jack. It was a 20-minute long battle that saw champ Rina Yamashita fall into that underdog role. And meanwhile, Violento Jack, he was that methodical brute all match long and ate most of Rina's offense, showing no signs of damage. He powerbombed her through a pane of glass. He rolled through a fireman's carry to the floor through glass and a door. He took Rina's frog splash like a feather falling onto a dog's nose. Bottom line, he overpowered the champ at every single turn. The second half of this match really shined through, where it looked like no matter what Rina did, she would not be able to keep Jack down, and at the same time showing no matter what he did to her, she wasn't going to stay down either. In the end, it ended up being a great back and forth contest, which my recap will not give justice. I just want to point that out. So don't miss out on this one, trust me. ICW No Holds Barred were in Detroit for their Volume 51 show, and in the main event, Matt Tremont put his IWTV Independent World title on the line against the hometown hero, Malcolm Monroe III. This match started off with a light tube headshot trade-off that lasted longer than some of the matches on the card. Well, I'm exaggerating, but only slightly here. As the match spilled out of the ring, Malcolm Monroe cleaned Tremont's clock with a chair, and you could tell Tremont was fired up tonight. Look at him jumping over that table. As fired up as he was, though, Tremont was on the wrong end of MM3, jumping from the balcony, wiping him out. As if he didn't get enough air back in the ring, he followed that up with a monster double stomp through glass. Then the challenger landed several devastating kicks, but got caught off guard with a Death Valley driver through a pane of glass. He would take one more DVD before Tremont planted MM3 down with a powerful sit-out powerbomb to pick up the win. Tremont keeps his IWTV title, but he wasn't the only winner here tonight, because MM3 proved he could hang and then some with one of the best to ever do it. His name was the one being chanted when it was all said and done. More Matt Tremont, more Violento Jack. In the main event on night one of GCW's homecoming weekend, we were treated with one of the best death matches of the month. From the first light tube break to when Jack peeled Tremont's bandage off with his own teeth, you could tell these two came to Atlantic City to fight. As a deathmatch wrestling fan, what more could you ask for out of this? We had plenty of brutality. I'm talking forks being stabbed into skulls, huge back body drops through glass, Russian leg sweeps through doors, barbed wire and tubes, glass shattering shoulder blocks, Mortal Kombat style uppercuts, light tube lariats, even straight up flapjacks through the glass. We also got some high risk moves in this one with dives to the outside and a big frog splash from Violento Jack. Looking to put Jack away for good, Tremont hit a Death Valley driver onto a bunch of tubes, but when he went for the cover, Violento Jack latched onto him, locking in his trademark submission. Tremont tried to hold on as long as he could, but he was forced to tap out in the end. Now this was just a classic death match here that you should not overlook in the month of August. On August 11th in Maybe, Michigan, Unsanctioned Pro held their show titled Counterfeit. The main event saw a 6-man deathmatch eliminator with Josh Crane's Unsanctioned Pro hardcore title on the line. Now this match was pure chaos, this match was brutal, and most of all, this match was very fun. As for the rules of this match, it would start out as a 3-on-3 match. When one person got pinned, their entire team would be eliminated, and then it would turn into a triple threat elimination match. And of course, we had staggered entrances, which means one team would always have the advantage. Shane Mercer would team with Josh Crane and Eric Dillinger, and oh my god, Shane Mercer really put on a showcase here. As for the other team, we had Kevin JEEZUS, who would be teaming up with Joel Bateman and Dr. Redacted. As I said, this match was very chaotic. We had non-stop action from start to finish, where we almost saw Dr. Redacted get burned alive. And look at this insane military press throw into a double blockbuster. With all 6 guys getting into the ring at once, we got this 6-man light tube war. I kind of feel bad for the champion Josh Crane here, because he would come out into this match last and really didn't get to do a whole lot before Redacted hit a frog splash and all 3 members of his team pinned Shane Mercer. That meant Mercer, Dillinger, and Crane were all eliminated, also meaning we were going to be guaranteed a new champion though. Now turning into a triple threat, Redacted put JEEZUS through a pane of glass, but then was immediately taken out with a big lariat from Bateman, and when I say taken out, I mean he was pinned and eliminated. JEEZUS hit a Canadian Destroyer, but it wouldn't quite be enough. Then Kevin JEEZUS was able to survive another strong lariat from Bateman, but he would not survive being dropped directly onto his head into light tubes. Joel Bateman scored the pinfall victory, meaning he is the new Unsanctioned Pro Hardcore Champion. I think I already described this match as chaotic, but yes, it is very fun, very chaotic. A lot went on, so do yourself a favor, do not miss it. Go out of your way to watch it on IWTV. On August 4th, GCW held their event titled My Name is GCW. It took place during SummerSlam weekend in Detroit. That is where the Second Gear crew took on the Rejects in a tag team deathmatch. The whole first half of this match was just wild brawling out amongst the fans. In fact, GCW had to roll with double boxes just to cover all the action going on. While Mance Warner was getting slammed onto chairs, John Wayne Murdoch and one called Manders found their way up onto the stage area. That's where Murdoch countered Manders and just shoved him off the stage, sending him flying through a couple of barbed wire doors. Once back into the ring, Manser took on both Murdoch and Bentley 2-on-1, where he was shoved through glass. He was then sent crashing down through more glass with the Reject's trademark move, but surprisingly, Manser kicked out at 2. But that 2-on-1 continued with a spiked tombstone down onto a chair, but it still wasn't enough. The fans and the Rejects were both shocked. Manders found his way back into the ring where he hit a running power slam onto Murdoch through glass in the corner. Warner grinded a tool into the forehead of Bentley, but then made a critical mistake by taunting in front of Murdoch, who made him pay big time. And that is when the Rejects took back control of this match, hitting a double Deep South Destroyer onto Manders through a door to pick up the victory. An absolutely wild brawl here with a climactic finish. John Wayne Murdoch and Reed Bentley get the win. So there you have it, 5 must-see matches that you need to go back and watch. There's a whole lot that took place this month. You need to go back and watch the tournaments. You need to watch those matches. You need to watch the title matches too. It's I don't want to be the only one watching all this stuff, okay? But yeah, you see the runtime already. That's why there's no Deathmatch archives. That's why there's no real news articles here that I wanted to throw out to you guys. This is getting long. I always wanted these to be short, but as more title matches happen, more tournaments happen. Guys, do you see what's happening next month in September? At least 4 deathmatch tournaments in September, including some big ones, Tournament of Death. So I'm going to wrap it up on this episode. Please like, comment, subscribe, share the video, throw it to all your friends and family out there. Let's spread the word of the deathmatch wrestling scene. And as always, don't be a dick, don't be a pirate. Pay the ones that do what we all love. Thank you, everybody.